Yo, what's going on? It's your boy, Big Wavy Roy Johnson here.
This is the professional Nathan Cruz.
Yo, this is Man Like Doris.
Hi, this is Tom Thurber.
This is Benji.
This is the Asian sensation Kanji.
This is the Nightmare Fuel Hassan Malone.
This is Joe Rage, the heavyweight classic.
This is Mad Dog O'Doherty.
This is Tonga.
I'm the Breaker, Carl Kingsley.
This is the infamous Cameron Solis, and you're listening
to
Broken but Glorious.
Broken but Glorious.
To Broken but Glorious podcast, because like me, you are head to toe a pro.
Yeah, you're always in the people you might know on Facebook.
That's right. So yeah, we probably have a lot of mutual friends.
I think I've interviewed quite a few people on your show. Get the list up. Yeah, I've interviewed RPD, Isaiah Quinn.
Yeah.
Sandy Beach, Dan Evans.
Yeah.
Micky Barnes. Yeah.
Oh, Micky's a character. Yeah.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah.
I think he's going to make his Wrestle Island debut after the next show, because Drill kind of hinted that he's bringing what's his nickname? The Heavyweight King.
Yes.
Yeah. So because right. I knew his nickname, I was like, Micky's coming.
Oh, it sounds like he will be doing. Yeah. No, he's really good, Micky. Yeah, and most of those names, apart from Dan, they've come through GPW, come through Grand Pro's training school, and it's good to hear those names that have branched out and done other things as well. And Micky's done some great things that people just don't know about. He's awesome.
Yeah, he tends to be him or Styx tends to be the champion whenever we go to see Mega Slam. So
right.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, he's a mainstay at Mega Slam, and he's busy every single weekend, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. He has been for the last 5-6 years. So when you mount all that time up and all those matches up in the ring, you're gonna have a really seasoned pro, and that's what he is now. He's a real seasoned pro. He's good, really good.
Okay, well started. Right, you ready?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Hello and welcome to my Brit Rest journey. I'm Chris Lappin. I'm delighted to be joined on the line by the owner of Grand Pro Wrestling, Johnnie Brannigan. How are you doing this evening, Johnny?
I am good. I have been in the heat all day long. Not taking a beat down, just the heat from the sun. So I've got a fan going off somewhere, cooling down, feeling good. Thank you.
Yeah, I was saying to my friend yesterday, like this time last year, I just had a fan on and we can't sleep all night. But I think just the cost of living these days, I can't have the fan all night, so I'm having awful night sleeps at the moment. I'm just so hot. Huge thanks for joining us this evening. So Johnny's joined us to promote GPW's 20th anniversary show on the 9th of July at the Monaco Ballroom in Wigan. Stacked card so far, to say.
All the matches are out now. All the matches are out. I'm really happy with it. It's I've actually been holding on to the card for quite some time. It kind of the card wrote itself. It is a daunting task doing an anniversary show. I've always sort of wrapped myself up in anxiety. Are we doing the right thing? Are we honouring the right part of history? Are we paying it enough forward? We have our anniversary shows every 5 years, but this 20th anniversary one has been a milestone that's been in my mind for a long time, and the card wrote itself months ago. So it's all fallen into place. The easiest card I've ever had to book. I'm excited. I'm pleased you think it looks stacked. I think it looks stacked. There'll be names on there that people perhaps don't know, haven't heard of for a while, but it'll be a brilliant show.
Yeah, just the main event. So is this the comeback shows, your first shows since pre-lockdown?
Yes. We've had a long forced hiatus. So our last show was just before lockdown happened on the 6th of March 2020, and it was a brilliant night. And we were just 2 shows into a full year, and we were doing some sold out shows. I think we'd had maybe 12 months of sellouts on a run with some great storylines that were connecting, new characters that were connecting, We had a great year planned in 2020, and it got taken away. At that time, obviously, we didn't know how long it was going to be. COVID happened, and then venues started to reopen and things, but the Monaco didn't. The Monaco's been our home for 20 years. That's where we've done our wrestling shows. I don't think there's any other company in Britain who've ran the same venue for 20 years and still drawn. We have. So yeah, the venue took off in a different direction, and they basically said post-COVID that they needed to make some money. The wrestling had made them some money, but not enough money. And they were focusing on events that were going to bring in hundreds and hundreds of fans. And we'd sort of averaged over our 20 years, our average is about 250, 260 odd people. They wanted to bring events that were bringing in 700-800 people.
Wow.
We can't do that. We're not going to do that. So we had an amicable agreement that it would be a no for now to not bring us back. And I kept this to myself. I didn't tell the wrestlers. I didn't tell the fans because I wasn't happy about if that was the end. That's the way we're going to do it. And part of the reason why we've made 20 years is because I'm stubborn. And I was stubborn with that relationship with the Monaco. And luckily in January, they rung and said, "Listen, I think we can make this work. Let's meet and let's discuss some options." So that's what happened. So yeah, part of it, long answer to your question, I've been on a bit of a ramble there, but part of the hiatus was COVID, and part of it was because the Monaco had basically brought in Bongos Bingo to do all their Fridays and Saturday nights, but it's making them money now, and I don't blame them for that. It's making them a lot of money to do. So they've been set up their main venue that's not been in the city. And it left us no room to do our own shows. They got rid of all the sort of legacy events that were happening at the Monaco that have been there for years and years and years, and we're the only one they kept. So yeah, it speaks to our relationship with them, and I know that the fans have been ringing and the fans have been emailing asking when's wrestling coming back. But it's kind of good to take a step back, let people miss us for a little bit. It doesn't feel like it's been 3 years, but yeah, it has.
Definitely. Yeah, Bongo Bingo is a mad night myself. I've been once.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
yeah, and not to the one in Wigan, one to the one in Liverpool, and I was so drunk by the time the last game came on, I could barely do. I couldn't keep up the numbers.
I've never been. I don't need any encouragement to drink like that because I can do it by myself anyway. So, but it does look like fun.
Yeah, but yeah, my knees and my thighs, because every 10 seconds you're up dancing on the benches and stuff, and you're constantly up and down. It's and I wasn't. I was nearly 18 stone back then, so I wasn't. So yeah, it's getting up and down. My knees are in bits the next day. So having a stinking hangover and but yeah, it's great. It's great that you're back. And yeah, so but should we just go through the card because it's just a mouth-watering card. So I'm guessing you vacated all the titles pretty much from when COVID started to now, because I'm guessing Joey Mays hasn't had a 4-year reign.
No, he's not had a 4-year. He's not had a 4-year reign. What I decided to do was, the COVID, the fact that these guys that have had the championship, so our champions are Sandy Beach is the British champion, Joey Hayes is the heavyweight champion, which is our main title, and the Austins, Lee Austin and his sister Lana are tag trophy holders. And it's not their fault they haven't been able to defend it. So, normal title rules would say if it's not been defended after a certain period of time, but it's not their fault. We've not had a show to defend it. But what we've done is hit pause on that reign. So their reign will restart on July the 9th.
So Joey will come out with the title.
Yes.
It's not like he has to wrestle for it again.
No. I thought that was the fairest way to do it. It's not their fault they haven't been able to defend. So all the titles are on the line again. So the champions will come out with those titles. Sandy Beach will come out with the British title, the Austins the tag, and Joey the heavyweight. So all those will be on the line. So that's 3 matches straight off the bat that should, matter to people. Certainly people that have followed our story.
Yeah, and you couldn't have picked anyone bigger for Joey to face than Sam Gradwell's like the biggest names in Britain at the moment. So.
Yes, he is. It is. I cannot possibly muster up enough good things to say about Sam. He started with us when he was 17. He's gone from an adolescent to a grown man with children of his own, and I've been part of that. I've been by his side through all of that growing up, and all of his growing up in wrestling. It's been an absolute joy to behold, and I could not be prouder of the man that he's become and the wrestler he's become. And we're so lucky to have him available, and that main event completely writes itself, because Joey, like Sam, started with us 20 years ago, and I know that Sam, and I know Sam won't mind me saying, looks up to Joey so much, and always has. Joey is the wrestler that all the other wrestlers want to wrestle, and there's a long queue of people. But this match, wrote itself in that main event. If people listening haven't got the tickets are 15 quid. That match will be worth £15 alone, I promise you. And you need to be there live to see, because it'll be amazing.
Yeah, Joey seems to be everywhere at the moment. Every show I go to, he seems to be on at the moment. Just putting over the next generation at the moment. It's just like he's amazing.
It's amazing how Joey's still, got the passion that he has, because Joey's been, to me, it seems like Joey's been everywhere all the time. But he's still, I haven't seen Joey, but I know Joey really well. I haven't seen Johnny in 3 years, but I know Joey. I know who he is, and he just loves pro wrestling. He's made for this, and it's a testament to his love for the sport that he's done this for 20 years and kept that passion going. He's really happy to wrestle newcomers, really happy to wrestle seasoned vets, and he's always positive. He's always up for it. He'll never do the same match twice. He'll come with ideas, and he's just a great guy to have on the roster. So yeah, super. And we're lucky that he started with us, and he's a local lad to Wigan. It just all sort of falls into place.
Yeah, is he the only one who's returning? He was on the first show, wasn't he, from 20 years ago? So is he the only? I think I'm just trying to look.
Yes, good. Good knowledge. Joey was unless I lace up my boots that night, unless someone's not, I have to go and do some moves. He will be the only one that's announced on the event that was there 20 years ago. Yeah.
So how old was he back then? Like 17, 18?
Yeah, I think so.
Like late 30s now, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. And again, sort of had a passenger seat to watching Joey grow up in life and in wrestling, and the person he was then is sort of evolved into a wonderful guy, and totally different, but still sort of the same as well, and a lot of qualities and values. And when you think about the time that we've spent with some of those people, it's really heartwarming to think that we've been there for so long.
Definitely. Martin Kirby versus Soner Dursen. Soner Dursen's like one of my favourite wrestlers. I've done one training session with him as well, and he's such a nice guy.
Yeah.
But he can also be like the most hateable heel in the world. And I'm not sure of the heel dynamic here. Who's going to be the heel and the face in the Martin Kirby Soner Dursen?
No, I'm not sure either. That's probably a match I'm quite relaxed about, just letting the fans choose. Martin will be the babyface 100%.
Yes.
The music that he comes out to, which I've forgotten what it is now, but I can hear it in my head and I'm not singing it. The music he comes out, you can't boo that. He's such a likable guy. He plays a great heel. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, he will be babyface, and I'll let the crowd decide if they want to boo or if they want to cheer Soner. But yeah, I echo your sentiments about Soner. Great guy, awesome talent, and this is a match again that we're so lucky to be able to give people. I think these guys, Sam and Joey, have wrestled no more than a couple of times. Soner and Martin have only wrestled each other once before.
Oh wow!
So yeah, you look at the card in totality, you'll find that kind of theme repeats itself, which is pretty good. Sort of pat myself on the back here too much, but we've after 20 years we're still being able to bring fresh matches, and that is one that really sort of makes your mouth water. Soner Dursen versus Martin Kirby. If you know anything about British wrestling, that will be a banger.
Yeah, Martin's been around, a legend of the British scene, and Soner's been holding titles all over the Northwest for the last 3 or 4 years. And his feud with RPD at TNT Ignition last year or the year before was, a trio of matches was amazing. But yeah, RPD versus Dylan Roberts, another 2 legends. RPD's rise post lockdown has been amazing. It's just he's already double champion. By the time this comes on, he might be a triple champion because he's against Lads of Vera at Wrestle Island.
That's right.
Before, so he could be a triple champion by the time he comes on.
Yeah, and I hope he does it. I've known Ryan personally for a long time. We've been friends for a long time. We're both Blackpool lads. And Ryan was I don't think he'll ever really tell you how good he was at boxing. He was brilliant, an excellent boxer that could have gone on to do really great things. But he was always a wrestler at heart. And I knew that, so I contacted him when he'd retired just to see if we could do something. And we started training together, and he's just got such an athletic ability that he's able to do things in there in that ring that people can't, that he took to quicker than I've ever seen anyone. I've trained a lot of guys over the years, and he took to things much quicker than most people.
Definitely.
So I'm not surprised to see him go on and get everywhere. He's a really nice guy. He comes with an already built-in following that will go to the ends of the earth to support him, which is very appealing to a lot of promoters across the country. And he just has that connection very quickly with people. So wherever he goes, he gets new fans. That's lightning in the bottle stuff, especially in British wrestling. It makes him a really sort of really important asset to British wrestling. And again, lucky to have had him at the start. So I know he's looking forward to coming home, as he calls it, and looking forward to having him. Dylan, again, someone that came through our training school, been around a long time. Vastly criminally overlooked as a performer. Can do it all. Was probably my most favourite heavyweight champion we've had. Just the whole package, his presentation, his matches, his work ethic. A fabulous guy to have in the locker room as well. Has now amassed many years of experience. So he's a veteran. Has always embraced ideas. I remember one time I told him that he needed to go and get new gear and start wearing a mask for a silly gimmick idea that we had for a match that would last, a storyline that would last 6 months, and he did. No question, he did it. Two great guys, 2 great wrestlers. We've got Isaiah Quinn in there. So Dylan was managed by Alan Tasker, who's moved over to the States. So Alan can't be around to be in Dylan's corner. So Isaiah Quinn has put his hand up, and he will be ringside as well. So there'll be fireworks there.
He's fun. Isaiah's always a lot of fun as well.
Yeah, he gets it.
Yeah, he's. I've seen him a lot at Odyssey. He's got his own little faction there. And they hate him. Yeah, he's very good. Again, he's someone that started through us, and he again, I've seen him evolve and become more comfortable as time's gone on. And in the totality of his career, he might be more recognised for being a manager in this part of his career, but he was a great performer himself, and able to do the serious and do the comedy. Yeah, during lockdown, his following video series he did, I thought was the most hilarious. He seems to embrace this. I can't do anything, so I'll do something fun.
Yeah.
I loved it.
He does have a great, he's a great sense of comedy, Isaiah, And we had talked about turning that gimmick into a comedy gimmick before we had to call it a day. But you can do the serious stuff as well, and he will be serious on July the 9th.
Definitely. And with RPD, he just seems to have this instant connection with like the younger fans as well. It's like my 7-year-old hadn't seen him wrestle, spoke to him for 2 minutes, and it's his favorite wrestler. It's like, yeah, he has it. So like at Wrestle Island, it's RPD and Lance Rivera as favorite wrestlers, so now they're wrestling for the title. He's like, no idea what it.
Yeah, but that's a golden spot for a promoter if they can get that. That's great, everyone's a winner. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. He does have an instant connection with people. He's just a likable guy. He's always been the same, Ryan. He's always had that ability to connect with people. Like I say, I've known him for a long time. So yeah, he's always had that ability. I never thought, if you'd asked me before he started wrestling, if he could take that ability and put it on a wrestling show and connect with an audience of a few hundred people, I'd have said probably not, but he can.
Yeah, he's definitely. Yeah, and having RPD as a name, it's instantly you think RVD, so you can it's a great chance as well. So it's like yeah. No, he's got it. He's got the gimmick, and he's like the reps he's got in. Like you say, since post-COVID, he knows what he's doing in there now. Yeah. Next, you got the tag team title. So you got the Austins versus the. I always want to call them the Mercenary Squad, the Merseyside Mercenary Squad.
Yeah.
I've heard nothing but good things about Lee Austin, but I've never seen him outside. Does he only wrestle for Grand Pro? I've never seen him outside of.
Yeah, he does. And again, there's quite a lot of people on the roster, that we're talking about the announced matches here, but there will be some surprises as well that will pitch up where people can see classic Grand Pro people that they won't see anywhere else other than Grand Pro. And Lee, who wrestles as LA, is one of those people. He's just Lee's a very, very laid back guy. Nothing phases him. It's just maybe his personality. There's no reason why he can't go out there and get booked by everyone. He's a superb high flyer. Can do some amazing stuff. I've known Lee for 13, 14 years now, and I thought, and I never thought in 13, 14 years' time he'd still be able to do the stuff he does, but he can. And the fans love him. He's got a connection with the audience as well. So yeah, people won't see Lee wrestle anywhere else, and they certainly won't see him wrestling with his sister Lana. And everyone in British wrestling knows what Lana is, and to be able to put those two together in a tag team, because both of them, with Lana and Lee, come from a very close family. They've got quite a few siblings, and they're all close. They're close to the parents, close to the siblings, and so to be able to put that on a show and to have them be as good as they both are as a team, and to defend the trophy is cool. Is really cool. And they love it. The two of them love it, and that's really you can feel it. When someone is into the idea and into the storyline, and those two have always been so positive. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and you couldn't pick a better tag team for them to face than like Dan Evans, Scott Overman. Then between them, they held single titles all over the world. Taking over Scandinavia as well. Yeah, they're kind of like doing the reverse Viking thing, aren't they? They're invading Scandinavia at the minute. No, cool. Yeah, Dan. I've known Dan a long time, and he has always wanted his chance to get on to Grand Pro, and had that chance just before we had to close the doors, and he brought Scott with him. And Dan is seasoned pro. He knows what he's doing in the ring, and Scott will be one of the most important people in British wrestling. Certainly in the Northwest, he's got it all. He's going to be a player, but he's still learning his craft at the minute. And you couldn't have a better tag team partner to be learning with as well. And the two of them gel well. So yeah, that match books itself really. Again, a match that no one else will see anywhere, that has never seen that before. You've got a duo that have wrestled all over the world together against family. It's exciting. It's very good. throw in a title as well. So
next, your British title, got British Sandy Beach versus the heavyweight king Micky Barnes. It's a nice clash of styles.
Yeah, it is, and it's just going to be super exciting. Again, you won't see these wrestlers. You know, we talked about Micky Barnes doing Mega Slam and stuff, but you know, fans are, you know, people that follow the indie stuff won't see Micky wrestle many other places unless he turns up at Wrestle Island. But Micky has quietly been among the best heavyweights in his country for the last 5 or more years, and people just don't know about him. He's superb. He can get the crowd riled up in seconds, and always has done. You can absolutely guarantee you are going to get heat from him as a reaction. As a promoter, you know, matches are important, but reactions are more important. And I can guarantee the reactions he's going to get. Same with Sandy. His storyline with us is great. He played the lovable loser gimmick for about a year with us, and then turned it around, started winning, and it was such an organic reaction from the crowd. He came out he was a heel for about a year or so, and then he started winning. The crowd turned, and they followed him through with it until it led to his title win, which he lost, and then recaptured that title. So he's had that title since then. And again, you won't see Sandy many other places. A bit like Soner, a bit like Lee. Just someone that should be booked more places, but isn't. But you know,
he's had an unlucky few years with injuries as well, Sandy. So it's great to see him back now. So
he's had a couple of long-term injuries. But yeah, you know, those two boys are Grand Pro boys through and through. People will be eager to see what Sandy does, and this is Micky's chance to prove that he can do it in a singles title match. So yeah, a good clash of styles. It'll be interesting.
It'll be a lot of fun. A performance from the magnificent Matt Brooks. It's my girlfriend's favourite thing that happened whenever he's on a show we're at. His song for his entrances.
I'm glad you said that, because a lot of friends that I have that come to the shows, they're the number one guy, and I'm not making this up, that the most questions I get asked is that opera guy on the show. Yeah, and it's such a special thing to be able to offer on your show. And again, Matt, criminally underused in the UK. Definitely. I don't think people have a clue how to book him. He is a gimmick wrestler. He's as gimmicky as gimmick gets with his wrestling, and I just don't know.
His style is kind of it's very 80s the way he wrestles. He's very Ultimate Warrior. Yeah, that's Hulk Hogan, but Matt, better because he can actually wrestle.
I'll say it, and he won't mind me saying his wrestling is limited. He is a gimmick wrestler, but you are not working hard enough on your booking if you're not trying to book around his limitations and book to his strengths, because he is a draw and he looked great and people remember him and people will come just for him, I guarantee. Quick funny story about Matt. I don't think I've said this before. So Matt started training with us, I can't remember, years and years ago, and he'd been training perhaps 2 or 3 months, and he was very coy. He had been trained in the States, but sort of very coy about it all. He'd been trained at Brian Kendrick's school, and one day I'd asked him to do a promo, and he started singing in this operatic performance. He'd never once said that he was capable of doing this, so it completely shocked us all. And I was like, Matt, that has got to go on shows. And so that's how it happened. But he never mentioned it. It just blew us away. So I know what it's like for fans who might not have seen him before that get that experience, because I was there at the same time I heard it, and I was like, whoa, amazing.
Yeah, because he comes through the curtain and you just see this physique, and you're like, wow, you don't see that physique on British shows or anywhere in wrestling these days. No. It's just completely chiseled. and then he starts singing. He was like, it's just like it's like this.
Yeah, Matt has absolutely no idea what McDonald's tastes like. He has no idea what chocolate tastes like, ice cream, or no. But he looks the part. He does, and that is rare in wrestling to have someone that looks that good. And like I say, criminally underrated. But I don't care. Well, if people don't use him, I will use him.
Oh, he's amazing. And you've got a new entrance into your Hall of Fame. So who's in your Hall of Fame already?
There's probably some people on there that will get. There's a couple of names on there that people will not like, so I won't.
Okay.
I am in there. I did not put myself in there. The Hall of Fame was started without my knowledge, and I was put in as the first entrant. We've got Damon Lee in there because he was there. He's been with us since the start.
Another criminally underrated guy. Used enough anyway. So.
He can do it. He can do it all. Joey's in there. Tony Knox, the photographer, is in there. Yeah,
I'm convinced he has clones because nobody could be as many shows as he's at because it's just like
it's true. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, no, there's a few in there, but we're gonna open that up again and put a new entrant in there. It just seems the right thing to do at this event. I'm not gonna give you any clues to who it'll be, but it will be hopefully a nice surprise to people, and it most importantly gives the individual going in an opportunity to be put on a pedestal and celebrated because of their contributions to the company.
Oh, amazing. Right, so just a reminder, it's the 9th of July at the Monaco Ballroom in Wigan. I'll put ticket information in the description below the interview if anybody wants to is interested in buying one. Can we just talk a bit about your career then, as a wrestler? What was I was going to talk about you as a fan growing up. I was more interested. What was the British scene like when you started training? Because I'm guessing you also been a wrestler for a few years before you were a promoter. So what was the British scene like? Late 90s, early 2000s?
I started in 2000. So I started training in 2000 and I made my debut in 2000. So you sort of have to put your mind back to where the world was at that time. Sort of internet in a dial-up scenario, and it was British wrestling was like the Wild West. That's what it was like back then. I've got some great stories of things that happened back then that are just completely unbelievable now, and I know I'm not the only person who has the hilarious things that have happened. No one was trained the right way. People are trained much better now. Scene wise, the audience wasn't as good. I think they're much better attended now, the shows, but it probably goes hand in hand with social media. But we did get the odd big show. I think it was 2006 where we got like 500 plus in.
Oh wow.
So it could be done. It could be done, but a lot less training schools, a lot less promotions, pluses and negatives to both of those things. So there's like a training school in every town. There's promotions, or perhaps more than one promotion in each town. I'm from Blackpool, and we do the shows in Wigan because I inherited the company after a couple of years of it being run. So it would be way easier for me to do shows in Blackpool. But there's already companies that run in Blackpool. You look at the next town, Preston. Well, there's a company that run in Preston. Yeah. You look at the next town on the map, it's Chorley. Someone runs in Chorley. Then you get to Wigan. So that's our town. You move to Bolton, there's someone in Bolton. You move to Manchester, there's about 6 or 7. It's like literally every stop on the map you've got places to
Odyssey and Liverpool.
Yeah, you go the other way. Yeah, Odyssey. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So that would never have happened back in the day. People would have been way more spread out. I think there's way too many promotions now. I'll hold no bones against that. And part of the reason I was so keen to get to this milestone of 20 years was to kind of throw the gauntlet down some of these promotions that are here 1 minute and gone the next. Like, this is the marker, boys. Like, if you want to get in the game, be prepared to be in it long term. And but it's the promotions that are fly by night that really get under my skin. They come in and they'll use crap wrestlers. They'll do a crap job of promoting, and it just does nothing but hurt the team. So I don't know why anyone would want to spur that on. So I think there should be a bit of a fence around it. That is a very unpopular opinion, but I'm not opposed to having an unpopular opinion, because that's my belief.
Yeah, the number of promotions that have popped up like since lockdown, like even if they make it to one show and then don't do any other shows. I've seen lots of people like follow me on Twitter or something, arrange an interview, and then the show doesn't even happen.
Oh, right.
What they promote and stuff. It's like,
yeah, it's a killer. Yeah, that really upsets me. It really pisses me off. It's totally different. Lots of fun, lots of problems, lots of fun. There was this isn't one of the stories I was thinking of, but it just seemed there was this thing back in the day where you would hire a ring. There used to be only a few rings that you could get, and there was a spat of people ringing up that ring person, offering them more money to stay at home to take the ring to the show, just to sabotage that show. And there's been shows that have had to happen without a wrestling ring. This was back in the day. Dirty little tactics like that. That thankfully and hopefully don't happen anymore. But yeah, totally different, but lots of fun. I'm glad I got in when I got in.
Yeah. And did you seem to like retired, not really retired, but you seem to slow down your career as the Brit Rest boom started. It's like the 2013, 14, 15 era. So
yeah. It was not intentional. I've not retired. I've still got stories and matches in me. It just made sense just to let someone else have that spot on the show. And yeah, I did. I think I can't remember when my last match was. 2014 maybe. It was hard to promote and do shows and hear on the shows at the same time. But yeah, I can't remember what the decision really was to make to step away from it. It was just an organic type thing, really. I just thought, well, someone else. I had a lot of trainees at the time that wanted that spot, and I'm hogging a spot that I don't need to hog. The storylines that I was doing elsewhere kind of wrapped up a little bit. But no, I'm not. I will wrestle again at one point, but it'll be, kind of there was actually plans for me to wrestle in a storyline that we got started. With myself and Sam Gradwell a few years ago, where we had this sort of ungrateful trainee storyline that was brewing, but Sam got injured, so we couldn't actually see that one through.
Oh no.
Which would have been fun, but yeah, we never got back on that horse. Yeah, but I've had a great time wrestling. I've loved it. I've had a wonderful time in all the matches I've had. I've been lucky to wrestle abroad. Been lucky to wrestle in different places around the UK, wrestle some cool guys, tell some cool stories. I've made loads of mistakes, but I've hopefully, had my MO in a wrestling match was to always make people think that, hang on about, I don't think that Heresy match was fake. I think, all the other ones might have been fake, but he was definitely hitting people hard. And just make people believe a little bit more. That was the whole reason I wanted to do it, and have fun and show off and tell stories and stuff. So I'm very comfortable with what I've done, but yeah, I've not chucked my boots away yet.
Do you find it difficult to let go of control once the show starts?
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, I have to be across everything. There was a period of time over the last 20 years where it was complete burnout, and I had to take a step away, and I wasn't as engaged in the shows as I should have been. I wasn't across all the things that I should have been. I don't know how. I can't remember what happened with those events. They probably happened just as well or as badly as other ones that I would have been across. It probably wouldn't have made any difference at all. But these are storylines and scenarios and characters and moments that live in my mind weeks and weeks before the event happens. They're not in anyone else's mind, they're in my mind. So for them to come out of my mind and be displayed on the event as I see them, I think I have to have that control. But it makes it a long day.
Yeah. How do you decide if you bring in like a big name in, who they're going to face?
I try to stay away from big names, really, because I don't like to follow the crowd. I know there is a company called Wrestle Island. That should probably have been our name, because I'm a little bit of an island myself. I won't book the wrestler of the month. I won't fly in guys for the sake of flying in. I don't know loads of promotions will. So a big name, there would have to be a real reason for that big name to come in. And if it is a big name, say from the British scene, then they will probably be brought in over a period of a number of shows where we can tell a story with that person. But I suppose, trying to answer your question, it would depend on who the person was and if they were, it might be what I want from that match. If I want a safe pair of hands, Joey Hayes, or someone like him. But if you want to give someone an opportunity, you might give it to one of the younger guys. I remember years ago we brought Tracy Smothers over, and it was just one of those things that hadn't really been planned in. It was someone contacted me and said, Tracy's in the country, can you use him? I thought, oh, you know what, we have got a gap, we could use him, and we were trying to push Dirk Feelgood at the time. So it made sense for him to go against Dirk. Dirk went from here to there after that match, so that match did exactly what he needed to do as far as like getting the fans to buy into it, and for Dirk to go on that learning curve. And it was a great match. People still talk about that match now, and that was 6.
That's amazing.
So yeah, so again, a bit of a ramble, but I don't bring in big names. We have our own roster that people hopefully will be familiar with, and if a big name comes in, it would be completely dependent on how many shows I was booking them for, really, because I don't really bring in people for one shots. It's usually like a storyline.
I know you haven't done shows for 3 years, but has the wrestling school been open for the last 3 years? Or?
No, unfortunately not. No, we've had to close the school down. It got a little bit too much work for me with having a day job Monday to Friday. I had my son was born in 2018, and the only day I had at home, really, working 70-hour weeks during the week, and then spending Saturday home before going to wrestling training on Sunday all day took its toll after a little while. So I tried to sub it out to somewhere else, but it didn't work because it was my personality. The wrestling school was my personality. It was my system. It was me. It was my identity, really. My DNA all over that. So when others did it, it wasn't the same. And that's no one's fault. That's just just the way it is, and it just didn't work. Which is a shame, because I loved doing the training, love seeing people come through, and giving them opportunities on the shows. And I'm sort of being that gatekeeper. I do have a problem with a lot of people in that scene in wrestling that don't look the part. I think could have done a bit more training, a bit harder training. I think a lot of people are too soft, and I actually actively tried to lose trainees, not gain them.
I didn't want, people had to prove themselves in my training, and so the guys that came through it come through it the hard way, which is the way I came in. And wrestling, I see a lot of people. You get into some controversial comments here, Chris, but I see a lot of people saying wrestling's for everyone. Wrestling is absolutely not for everybody, and
it's hard. Me and my son started wrestling training last May.
Yeah.
And after my first training session, I couldn't walk for 4 days. I've never done a squat in my life. I've never done a roll in my life.
Yeah, it is hard, and everyone is, come and try it, but it's to go on a show should be hard, and it shouldn't be made easy. And there's a lot of people that make that easy. Wrestling needs wrestling fans. It doesn't necessarily need loads more wrestlers.
That's it. Yeah, it is. I would say we love it. It just took me a while to, because I was so out of shape when I started. As I mentioned, I was 18 stone.
Yeah.
Early last year, so going straight into wrestling training when I wasn't very fit at all.
Yeah.
I was absolutely wrecked after the warm up, so I just couldn't take anything in after that. So it took me months of training to get to basic fitness, where I could actually concentrate and actually learn and stuff. It's hard. Yeah,
it is. It's the most unnatural thing to do. You're throwing yourself down to the ground. You're throwing yourself. You're pushing the air out your lungs. You're getting tired, and you're getting back up and doing it all over again. And as well as that, you're telling a story. You're being a character. You've got eyes on you, and it's really, there's nothing you can do in training that will prepare you for a match on the show. But it is so hard, and there's no real training that you could do to prepare to go to wrestling training. There's nothing you can do. You can do the weights in the gym and do your cardio and stuff, but I've had some meatheads turn up to wrestling training. I've had some extremely fit guys turn up to wrestling training. I've had guys that think they were world beaters turn up to wrestling training, and every single one of them has failed because it's harder than they ever thought it would be.
Yeah, I've seen a big turnover in people who turn up and do 3 or 4 sessions and never see them again. It's just
yeah. And you wonder, I worry what happens to those people. I'm pleased to see that you're still involved and you're doing an important job now, giving Brit Rest a pedestal to stand on, and people like me to come and talk about our shows and stuff. But I do worry what happens to those people that are chased away and aren't ready, and they might feel embarrassed and they've lost a fan from British wrestling. Because they might feel silly going back to watch a show or watch that show, and that's a shame, because like I say, wrestling needs fans. It needs people to come and spend money, because you don't need to be a genius to look at the crowds that people are drawing, working out what the wrestlers are costing, what the venues cost, what you have to try to promote. The money isn't great. It needs people to come and buy those tickets and buy the merch and things. So, we don't want to turn fans away. We don't want to turn potential trainees into non-wrestling fans. We still want them to come to the events. Yeah. So think about it strongly. If anyone's listening is thinking about it, think about it really strongly and pick a good school. Yeah,
it's not easy. I think it's something that I do it with my oldest, and I think it's a great thing we do together. Whether I'll ever wrestle on a show, I don't know, but I do really, really enjoy it. We've met some great people doing it. I think I've made a few friends for life type of thing. So,
well, it's that kind of experience you get in wrestling training you're not going to get in normal life. I've been thrown together with people that I thought I'd never be friends with, but I've been friends with for 20 years. Because we've got the common ground of wrestling. It's not, it's a beautiful thing to see people come together and form friendships like that.
Yeah, and there is an element of trust in things. Like I've been punched in the face twice, and I've never held it against anyone. I've been learning how to stick to like stray elbows and stuff. But, yeah, I guess we're learning, so you kind of I know there's no malice in it, but and I was like, oh, I don't want to have a huge bruise on my face at work tomorrow. Just to be asked questions, but luckily it wasn't. I love it.
I know. I can understand why people want to try it, but I think that the people who are going through the schools should not be given an easy way out of the school, and should not be going to schools to predominantly get on shows. I think I see a lot of chatter about people going to certain promotions just so they, it's an easier route if they went to that training school to get on that show, rather than going to a reputable school who will make you work. And I don't agree with that. Put the work in.
It's also one of them sports where you don't know what you don't know. I said, it seems to be the more I learn, the less ready I feel to be on the show, because it's just, I didn't know that. So it's so much to learn.
Yeah, there is, and you just have to throw your hands up and say, you know what, I will always be learning. And there's stuff I hear all the time that I've never thought of, or it's just a different way of looking at it. You'll always be picking new things up.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. So, do you want to remind the listeners about where the show is and what dates and stuff, and where they can find tickets?
Sure, yeah. So, it's our 20th year anniversary show. So, we are super excited to bring it to you. It's going to be a classic Grand Pro card, so you won't see some of these wrestlers anywhere else. If you've never seen Grand Pro wrestling before, this will be what we're all about. The show is going to be at the Monaco Ballroom in Hinley in Wigan. It's a beautiful venue, one of the premier venues in the UK. It's where we've been for the last 20 years. You can get tickets directly from their website, which is themonaco.co.uk, or if you search on Skiddle for Grand Pro Wrestling, you can get them there too. You can follow us on Twitter at Grand Pro. We're on Instagram and Facebook at Grand Pro Wrestling. If people feel the need that they want to go and add me on social media, I will only disappoint you, because I don't post anything. If you really want to find me on there, you can do. But yeah, please come to the show. Like I say, wrestling needs wrestling fans. It needs people to come together and enjoy, and hopefully people will do. It's a big event for us. We hope we can sell it out as much as possible and keep going.
As I said, it's a stack card. There's so many of my favourite wrestlers on it.
Cool. I'm pleased to hear that.
Cool. So I put links to everything in the description below the interview. So I've really enjoyed speaking today. I'd love to have you on again in the future. Good luck with the 20th show. I'd love to have you on again. Just go more depth on your career and stuff. Sounds interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories I can tell you. But yeah, it sounds cool. Thank you, Chris.